I will politely decline.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Void Jumpers. It's Wednesday, my favorite Wednesday of the week, and I'm happy to see you, all of you, you beautiful bastards. Let's bring in my friends. Oh yeah, nobody talk yet, because I forgot to say the one thing that I always say. We're going to be playing this game, Monster of the Week by Michael Sands. It's really great, and you should check it out. All right, now you guys can talk.
Hey, I bought a box of lemon meringues the other day. Woo! Hot!
I don't talk, I only plot.
Were they good? The lemon meringues?
Ooh! Taut! I tell you, like I was trying to kiss my mother.
Your mother is unusually sour.
That was completely uncalled for. I was merely sharing an anecdote in which I had an exceptionally taut treat the other day. You don't need to bring in my mother's temperament.
In comparison to your mother, when I'm kissing her, whoa, tar.
Hang on. What? How long have you and my mother been a thing?
Is that why they used to call, like, people tarts? Like, it's like, oh, she's such a tart. You know, like a strumpet or something like that.
I think
now
that
I want a crumpet.
when you were yeah, I was heading that direction, but it was taking some doing.
It's a long walk. Yeah.
All right, chat. How do we get Trin a crumpet?
Are we? The joke got cut short before we went live. So, are we doing the revised Democracy Corner? Are we kicking it over to somebody right now?
No, I think we're going to move on. Instead of plugging the fact that Lisa has a hot Spider-Man photo on Twitter, we're just not going to do it.
If you guys go on there and check out It's a Smalls World and she gets up to 1,000 followers, then she's going to do a taco cooking, Spider-Man costume wearing extravaganza. So go check that shit out right now.
True.
Oh, yeah. I swear to God, if someone is watching this show and not following Lisa's personal Twitch, It's a Smalls World, I have not even formulated a plan to conclude this threat. I'm so flabbergasted at the mere suggestion that might be the reality. Let's just have let's give it 3 minutes. We're not going to talk. We're not going to move or say anything. You won't miss the show. We're just going to wait here.
Wait, what happened?
So that they can go follow Lisa's Twitch.
Oh,
yeah.
They can do another tab. They can have both tabs open.
They can do that. It's not hard.
Okay, not everyone's got a Macintosh, Jesse, opening multiple tabs.
Only noobs don't. Only PC casuals have PCs.
Well, and gamers.
Can you not open multiple tabs on a PC? What have I been doing on my PC? This is crazy.
No, but it's perverse. All right, enough of this. You guys, every week you get me wrapped into this thing where we just go, and I could talk to you all day, okay? But that's not what the people are here for completely, okay? So, eschewing the democracy, I guess we did technically do the revised Democracy Corner. Go check out Lisa's Twitch, like it, follow it. Let's get a Spider-Man taco cooking thing. Okay, enough of that.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's get into the game, okay? We don't have a wrap-up this week. So we're just going to jump in. I'm not going to go too heavy on a spoken wrap-up because I kind of got us each individual section because the team is split right now. A little mini wrap-up to catch us up. So we'll deal with the scenes that we're in when we're in them. But a couple game announcements. Does anybody need to level up after last week?
Oh, got 3.
I'm actually pretty close again, which is
Me
fun.
too. I'm regretting this sweater is what I'm doing.
Me too. I was just
I'm
thinking how
so
toasty I
hot.
was.
It is not sweater weather.
Yeah, you are, Lisa.
Lisa, we've already advertised your hot Spider-Man photo, okay? Let's bring it to a different topic.
I'm deliberately covering up.
Okay, so no levels up. We need to remember that it is still day 2 in this arc, now Tuesday afternoon, and that your board debriefing is on Friday morning. So you've still got some time to tie up some loose ends. You do have a couple objectives on the board. That is to find and secure the E05 device. and to pass your board inspection. Those will
Can you
both be
spell
worth.
that just for clarity?
It is OSAI.
Okay.
You guys were saying OSI device last time. I didn't want to spoil the fun, and it sounded just as cool. But in my notes, it is OSAI. It is a device that Casey actually created, and I incorporated into this. He helped me design much of the Void Planet, the locations, and the NPCs. He is very cool and very imaginative, and so he did most of the work for me, and then I just string it together with a little bit improv. But that is a Casey Jackson original, the OSI device.
Nice.
Okay, so let's get into this game. All right, guys? I'm excited. We're actually going to start with Tag and Bryn. When last we saw the two of you, you were in the midst of a summoner's duel. You're facing off against Ira Dietrich and their parallel, Moksha. After a psychic attack by Tag, which exploded the electric arrows Moksha was about to shoot at you, Ira used her void ring to create a magical mech suit, which Moksha then mounted. We left off with Ira unleashing a wall of void bolts from dual miniguns. Now, because this is the top of the episode, I'm going to give you guys both a chance. Please, both of you, roll a dexterity check. I got my
8.
butt cushions on.
Wait, what do we add to? Oh, 9.
Okay.
I did level up.
No!
Yeah.
I had plans to keep him safe.
Tag, you are going to take 3 magical damage.
Okay.
And Bryn, you are going to take 1. If you have armor that protects against magic, it will work in both of these instances.
Okay, I'm okay.
Okay. You've got a big purple glowing mech in front of you. You can clearly see Ira inside. And Moksha is actually on top in a little caddy seat like a turret and has knocked an electric arrow. She seems to be aiming at Tag. What would you like to do, Bryn?
So I'm gonna look around at the room and try to get resourceful and use my barrier again. And I notice that there's like thousands of mosaic tiles around me, and I decide I'm gonna pull all of the tiles to start forming a shield and start pinging and exploding when the void bullets hit it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think this will be a modified use of your barrier, but because you're going to be augmenting a spell, your stacked negatives will not count towards this.
I forgot about those.
You'll be able to get the tiles and make a shield depending your roll. It'll take a full success to turn it into like a reactionary device. But getting the tiles and building a barrier is old hat for you. Please roll plus magic.
At my regular, right? Okay.
At your regular.
10.
Okay, cool. If you take any damage, you will return it in the form of mosaic tiles. Bryn, tell us how you do this. You just get away with it. So what does it look like when you grab these tiles off the ceiling and make a shield?
So as I start grabbing the tiles, and there's like multiple different sizes. So there's ones that are this size, and there's little guys in between them, and it makes this beautiful, colorful. Did I just hear my voice? No. Mosaic tiles, and so I start pulling them, and they start assembling almost like they click together almost. They make this really good like tink sound as they come together, and they start making this barrier. And as these ones come and make the barrier, and then the bullets start shooting, and these ones start coming. These ones come in time, and they explode mid-air, stopping the bullets. But it makes like this sort of, tile barrier around Tag and I.
Sure, and I think on the ceiling, these have a semi-realistic quality to them, although the images are in 2D. You get to see, because Void has been a full-fledged mega city for so long.
It's me.
The ceiling isn't what you would expect, like a pastoral scene or anything. It's actually just this repeating skyline. But when you pull it all together, it actually reforms kind of cubistically. It looks like a Picasso that's wrapped around you.
and they just deflect the things. So Bryn has encased herself in a mosaic barrier tag. What are you doing? Masha's still got an arrow pointed at you.
So here's what I think happens. The shock of the hit sends Tag reflexively and momentarily into the phase state, and he can kind of see, sort of in the way that Keanu began to adapt to the code of the Matrix. The more time he spends in the phase state, the more he's able to pick up on the nuances of seeing within that. How do I make this better? Am I zoomed in a bunch? I feel like I'm on Jesse's head.
You're too far away from the doorknob. Go towards the doorknob.
I'm centered right in my thing.
Oh, weird.
There may be an accidental crop on my thing. Anyway, I think that as those void bolts pass through the space, they leave traces. They kind of, you can see the path that those bullets took. And I want to see if Tag can kind of grab onto them and pull them into the real world, almost like these long sort of icicles that he's holding onto.
Okay. Before you roll this, I'm going to take a second just to discuss what this place looks like in the phase state. Because as you've seen in the past, magic users in particular, but a little bit of everybody, has kind of an avatar representation in the phase state. You know that Lisa looks like this shimmering golden type of goddess. You are almost shadow-like, and your wolf form is around you, kind of like in this permanent suit of armor. Masha and Ira also look different in this state. You can see that Masha looks, there's 3 of her. They're standing in a line, and you could see that they're actually in different moments in time. So the Moksha in the middle seems to be moving normally, but using that as your baseline for comparison, you can see that the Moksha behind her is actually following the same movements, but several beats behind, and the Moksha in front is doing the same thing, but is several beats ahead. Okay. You can tell that the Moksha in the middle is the dominant avatar.
Is that the hot new sitcom in this world, Moksha in the Middle?
Yes.
Hey.
And so, Ira, what does Ira look like? I hadn't really thought about it. I didn't expect you to just flip over, but I should have.
Let me add a little as you're thinking about it. A thing that's been in my brain for Moksha, and I'm going to say it out loud, and maybe because I'll use the powers vested in me to make it canon. Mm-hmm. I imagine Moksha having these very tight on the head braids, mm-hmm. and they are just like, one is sort of a gold, the other is a teal, the other is a purple, the other is a royal blue, just all of them down. But it's not electronic, it's magical. They just like the colors shift and change, and kind of like those tones just move throughout the braids the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. And in the phase state, you can see that too is following this same delay and fast forward between the 3.
Nice.
So it's creating this really trippy pattern. I think that Ira looks like it's almost like this. Do you know what a shambling mound is from D&D?
It's an angry bush.
I'm resisting the urge to make some really bad jokes right now.
Okay. Well,
can we hear at least one of them?
Yeah, just let one of them go, Trin. Just let it out.
Just one.
Maybe later.
It usually happens when from as I understand it, it's a spell that gets launched into any kind of environment, and then pulls together everything in the radius to create a creature out of it. And so Ira looks like that if you'd gone to a satellite view and dropped one of those onto a city. They just are this much larger individual that are pulled together. The arms are like made out of skyscrapers, and so are the legs. There's like a freeway wrapped around their torso that goes up around their neck like this big scarf. And the head is made out of this glowing void orb. And yeah, so you reach for the trails of these bullets, which register in the phase state because they are made out of pure void energy. Roll magic.
Yeah, and now that I know what's going on with Moksha's 3, that's a roll of an 11. I'm going to instead
You grab 'em.
take them like javelins and try to skewer, sort of pin her 2 shadows to the ground.
Okay.
You know, just like kind of pierce. See if I can hinder them and see how
Okay.
that affects her.
With your magic roll, you're able to crystallize and grab these weapons. So you are wielding them. You're going to need to roll dex in order to attack with them, but you got them.
That is a mixed success. That's a 7.
Okay, cool. So this is what I see. You, for just a moment, phase out, step forward in slow motion as these void bolts are just flying by you, and you're able to grab 2 of them and spin around and launch them both at Moksha. They actually fly out of the phase state into real time, and Bryn, you see these 2 crystallized void javelins just appear out of thin air. A second later, Tag follows through, and one of them goes wide, but the other one goes right over Moksha's shoulder and sticks into the wall. But the moment that it does, she screams and stumbles forward and starts to the fall starts in regular time, but once she gets going, it looks like somebody just pushed fast forward on a VCR, and she's yanked forward and tumbles across the ground very quickly and smashes up against one of the decorative rocks in the ring. The void javelin, which is stuck in the ground, is trembling as though something is moving it, but you cannot see what it is.
Do I get an offensive move?
You do.
Oh, I think, yeah, this is like the moment where you kind of trip someone into your friend and they can just take the shot.
Yeah, she was on top of the mech, so she fell hard. You know, like halfway down, she hit fast forward and just smashed into the ground and rolled almost to your feet, Bryn.
Okay. I am
You've still got a mosaic shield, by the way.
I do?
Yeah. I think her lightning arrow just like bounced off your shield as she was falling. It was coming nowhere near either of you.
Okay. I'm going to step around in front of the shield. I'm going to look at Ira, and I'm super jazzed, like so competitive, so amazed at what this person did. And that fireball I initially like shot out seems like kitty work, and I start feeling that familiar urge to like pull on full on fire. And so I start putting my feelers out into the environment around me, and I can't find enough fire anywhere. And I start reaching super far down into the earth, reaching for fire, and I can't find it. But what I find is something foreign, this void, and I start pulling it up towards my staff with the intention of transforming it into fire.
Okay, I think I have an idea of how this might work. So just to give us a baseline, you're going to roll use magic, but this will have your stacked penalty. And afterwards, add another one to it.
Where was I at?
I think you're
used
currently at a negative. I
one.
think you have -2 against you. Yeah. So if your magic's 3, you'd be at a 1.
No, my magic is 2, so now I'm at a 0. Okay.
Yes.
It's an 8.
Okay, cool. What is your? Because I know what I want to happen, but I'll give you just a second. What do you know what your end game is with this, or are you just trying to get a bunch of fucking fire?
No, I want to create a huge
Say it.
giraffe fox. A giraffe.
That you would. Okay, so is this like a summon of a strange creature that you're creating, or are you trying to make a giraffe box suit like Ira has made a mech?
A suit.
Okay.
Oh my
cool.
god. Yes. You're like inside the Toys R Us mascot, but fucked up and weird.
I thought that's what you were going for. With the mixed success, I know how I'm going to make this happen. So in order to get this going, you really got to lean on your staff, which has a fire Eric's in it. And so I think with the power of that ancient fire spirit, you're able to drag this energy up. You've done this before on Fire Planet. What you're going to be doing is kind of pulling this void energy up and then filtering it through that fire Eric's on your staff. But in doing so, like Ira using their ring to change these things, your staff, as you're doing this, starts to bend from the power that's coursing through it, and it actually starts to warp and disintegrate, not turning into nothingness. It turns into this swirling fire energy, the way that Ira has manipulated void, and your staff comes apart in this big explosion of fire to swirl around you and create this giraffe box armor.
Can we hear, Lisa, a little more? Can you paint a picture of this giraffe fox for us? I know it was a treat at the end of our last episode, but I'd like to revisit it visually.
Wait. What it looks like?
Yeah.
Well, there's a drawing of it in our Discord.
Oh, I know, but just paint a picture for us orally here.
Okay. So the way I envision it is that it's got a giraffe body with a giraffe neck and a fox head, and it's got the cute little fox tail at the butt.
Oh, yes, I love it.
And I think, to be fair, I think it's also got wings.
Definitely has wings.
Yeah.
You know what would be crazy, and I'm not proposing this, but what if it was like the giraffe neck, but instead of just being an anatomically correct fox head that goes on top of the neck just turns into like a whole fox, and so it's basically like 4 limbs poking out right at the neck here on this little fox. Basically, like the neck goes into where the tail would be on the fox.
Oh my god.
It's just like there. The giraffe
So it just
can lean
has
down, the
useless
fox
little
can, like,
paws waving around.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so here's what's up. Partial success is going to get you this. You reach up and climb into the magical trap door of the giraffe fox and pull yourself into the cockpit. Kind of like one of the Pacific Rim mechs. And
I actually think I'm writing it, if I'm being completely honest. I
So
think
you
I'm
can
like
climb up onto
sitting
the
on the
top.
neck.
There's a built-in like armored saddle, a war saddle. And while you are on this giraffe fox, you will not be able to cast additional magic. You will be able to use it as a means to attack and do whatever abilities it can do. But because your staff has just been incorporated into its makeup, you're kind of limited in your abstract spell casting. And when you climb onto the back of this, the mosaic barrier crumbles to the ground and just scatters all over the sand.
I say, sorry about your decor to Ira.
Ira just takes one of the miniguns and goes and just shoots this arc into the ceiling and tiles raining down, and they say, I don't give a damn about the decor. And now they're squaring off against the giraffe fox. What would you like to do as your opening maneuver here, mech warrior?
Yes, feels good to be back in a mech. That's what I'm telling you. I need some AC-20s. What do I want to do in this? I'm going to take my gigantic neck and wrap it around Ira.
Okay. Just roll. I think this is, you're going to be doing, you are magic and your attacks will function as such, but you are going to be rolling some different attributes for them. So I think the giraffe's got a +2 strength and dex. So just roll strength to kick some ass.
Strength? Okay. Ooh. Oh.
No.
I can set it up. I cannot finish. I am not a finisher. That's a 6.
Okay, cool.
Wait, do we have a
Yeah,
+1?
so
Do we have any +1s?
I don't know.
I don't know
You
either.
said the
But
giraffe had a +2?
Well, the giraffe had a +2 strength. Did you factor that in?
No. 5, 6. That's an 8 then. Never mind.
Okay, there you go. You wrap the neck of the giraffe around Ira's mech, and you completely immobilize it. They just open up with the void blasters, and you can see this giraffe's armor being shredded. But in the process of this, Ira takes like a hair stick out of their hair and just jams it into a control so that the guns keep firing, and just pop open the door and hop out to grab onto your giraffe fox, and they begin climbing up towards you as their mech and your giraffe fox are just tangled up, shredding each other. Tag.
So, shit, I don't think that I can resist being the third person to climb up on this giraffe fox.
Do it!
So I think, yeah, he's going to do like a reverse Legolas from Return of the King, or instead of sliding down the elephant's trunk, he kind of runs up the giraffe fox's tail. I imagine this might be 2 rolls, but I'm going to try to sell it to you in such a swift, sweet, tart, mother-kissing moment. Basically, I just want him to like get overcome by suddenly like, oh, it's just turned into a fucking brawl, and it just like runs up the tail, runs up, says hi to Bryn on the way, jumps, and just tries to drop kick Ezra as they are climbing up the giraffe fox.
Okay,
Despite
yeah.
it being far beyond Tag's.
I don't want to make it 2 rolls. I want to make it 1 roll. It's gonna be a dex roll. This will get you the run and the kick, but because of that, the success of your roll will determine the success of the entire maneuver.
Okay, so Tag and the giraffe fox, for whatever reason, we're just fucking in it, you know. And so the giraffe fox leans its tail down, and I just get a running start, and it's almost like I'm just sliding up. I'm just, you know, surfing up that tail, up the back. It's kind of like when you see, I'm full of pop culture references tonight, but when you see Quicksilver in the rebooted X-Men or the Flash moving by someone and kind of making eye contact.
Hashtag tag time for giraffe fox backflips.
I think you just got a +1, my man.
Oh, I did?
I think so.
I think so, right?
From Rob. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Rob.
That means a lot. Thank you. That is a +1 to Tag?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I think so.
I thought I heard something about backflips too. So you have to incorporate backflips in order to be able to use it, I think is
Yes.
the rule.
I have rolled already, so I will. You give me just a moment, you guys will see. So I just sort of tag locks with Bryn as he zooms past. He just feels like he's flying. He's like, man, I don't know why I haven't been a brawler before. I'm fucking great at this. Kind of takes a base vertebra at a time, stepping up, leaping off 2 feet, flying right at Ezra, who also just watches as Tag flies right by him and off of this giraffe fox with a 5.
No.
I think that the movement was so smooth that even though you're doing a drop kick, you do land on your feet and absorb that impact. So you don't fall or anything, but you didn't hit anybody.
Yeah, I just ran up this giraffe, jumped right off, and now I'm on the ground again.
And
But
you
it
land
looks
right
really
in front
cool.
You land
Thank
right in front of a decorative rock and kind of take a second to figure out what just happened. And then you see Moksha, except she's moving incredibly fast. And she just zips over to you, and you are then flying backwards. And as you're flying backwards, you can see that she's just standing there with her foot up in the air, and she just kicked you right in the chest. And
She's doing the Keanu
She's doing the Keanu.
from
And
the
then
subway.
Even in the small motions that she's making, she puts her foot down very fast and turns to you and adjusts herself very quickly. But you fly backwards. You take 2 physical damage and smash into a rock.
Is Tag dead now? I feel like he's taking a lot of harm.
Tag's actually doing pretty well because Tag has a perk or a trait or a skill or whatever they're called.
Invincible.
Called Invincible, where he always has +2 armor.
Ooh.
All right.
So I'm actually only 1 harm down. So come at me, Moksha.
Bryn, what are you going to do? Ira's climbing towards you.
I'm gonna ratchet the neck and the head around to look right at Ira, and I'm gonna say, "What does the fox say?" And I'm gonna go pew 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 with with the legs of the giraffe right at Ira.
Okay. This is going to be a tough thing. So in order to do this, in order to free your legs, the giraffe head has to unwind from the mech.
Yeah.
Tag, do a dex check.
Wow, 11.
Cool.
Yay.
The mech,
Thanks, everybody.
which has had its guns locked on full auto, is spun like a top as the giraffe unwinds. The void bolts just pepper the rock right above Tag, but miss him. Moksha actually catches 2 of them in her back and flies forward, landing face down. If Tag's sitting against this rock with his feet out, Moksha lands face down, kind of head in between the 2 feet in the sand. Yeah, so this is just going to be magic to shoot arm lasers out of this thing. So roll plus magic.
Okay,
This will be
now-
a +2 because the creature's full magic. Their lore is very low and their charisma is very low, but their strength, dex, and magic is very high. You're using
sorry.
giraffe stats here.
The giraffe fox's charisma is very low. On what planet can you justify such a moronic choice?
It cannot speak
Hashtag tag
English.
to quote a phrase and a very big steam-powered giraffe what smokes.
I think that's another +1 for Tag.
They're taking
from Merc.
pity on you, buddy.
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Thank you,
hear
Merc.
what-
Thanks, Merc.
What did
Thank you, Merc.
Thank you, Merc. What did the robot say?
I don't know. It's not posting in the
Quote-
chat for some reason.
To quote something, a steam-powered giraffe that smokes.
I don't know if we are dissuading tips or encouraging them by our kind of playing Mad Libs and telephone with them.
So,
Merc says you can smoke a giraffe. Okay.
the giraffe can't speak, so it can't ask for anything, and it can't coerce anybody to do anything. So its charisma is low.
Okay,
It's a
well,
looker.
It's
It's a look.
Babies
Majestic
can't
piece.
talk, and yet they coerce people all the time. They just
Also
do it with
cute.
their expressions and crying.
Because they're
Yeah.
cute and foxes are cute.
Your logic is deeply flawed. That charisma
So
needs
what?
to be through
It
the
can
fucking
be
roof.
flawed and still exist, so whatever.
It's fine.
I
My
can see
charisma
you're right.
sucks.
I still don't have to change it.
It's okay. Mine
So you're
sucks.
right.
They probably got it from me.
Roll plus magic, +2.
But also -4 because that was my mini.
This does not count against that. You're unable to do you're unable to do weird shit. So this is just giraffe stats. To shoot fire, you're using its
Giraffe
stats. Giraffe stats.
9.
Okay, cool. You do blast Ira, who flies off of the giraffe in
Like
this
this.
smoking. It looks like their robe has immolated, but as that burns off and smoke clears, you realize that they have some kind of magical protection. You you haven't done much damage to them. Moksha looks a little bit worse for wear, but Ira looks cool. But the partial success aspect of that is as each of these beams fires out of the giraffe hooves, the energy that is comprising this giraffe is going towards that, so the creature is shrinking with each blast. And soon you're just sitting on a giraffe fox that is the size of a Shetland pony.
I'm still trying to look cool.
Has it not shrunk the neck, though? So the neck is still just as long? The body is just getting smaller and smaller?
Look, that's funny too, but the way that I see it is the neck is just long enough to be like right in Bryn's way. So their heads
That's
are on
also
the same
funny.
plane.
Darn it.
Tag Moksha is climbing to her feet very quickly, and she is now turning away from you and making for the void javelin that you pierced into the wall.
Okay.
She's moving at flash speed. Like, she's just moving very quickly.
Okay.
What do you
Well, I'm going to try to... so she's kind of running away from me. I know she's going fast, but I'm going to try to reach out and just put my hands on her temples.
Sure, this will be Dex.
Okay.
Just to grab her. Move quick enough to grab her.
Okay. It is the lead up to a magical move that I'm trying to make.
I figured.
That's a 9.
Okay. You get your hands on her, but she has now, the partial success will be that she has, it took you, you couldn't catch her in transit, so she gets to the javelin and yanks it free, and as soon as she does, her speed turns back to normal, and you grab her on the head.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
So this is a really, I think, very exciting idea that Merc shared with me. She reminded me that we've seen Tag trade memories throughout our experience, most notably with Finnegan? Finnage. Who is the ghost in Blight Manor? Finbottom. Figgy Pudding.
Figgins? No.
Figgins?
Fig. Shoot.
The parallel that got turned into a zombie?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a really good name, and that guy with the really great name. What did you do with him? Tell me more.
Figbottom. I'm just referencing, I guess, precedent of sharing memories with him. So what I want to do is just, it's kind of using the Tag's move, almost a combination of telepathy and tune in, where he plants thoughts. And I just want to, without context, plant in Moksha the vision of Varik, the parallel to one of the most powerful summoners in the continuum, essentially crumbling in flame as from when we destroyed him way back on the Fire Planet.
Okay,
That's
cool.
so
Roll plus magic.
aggressive.
This is a summoner's duel, you know?
Summoner's
Gloves
Duel.
are off.
That'll be plus magic, my dude.
That will be a 12.
Okay. So here's what I'm going to give you. We have not addressed the fact that you haven't had your premonition for this arc. But because you're trying to share memories with this parallel, I'm going to incorporate that into what is about to happen. And I think I know how I'd like to do it. I'm just going to check the definition as written on premonition for full success to make sure that I know what's up. Plus, you get a detailed vision of something bad that is yet to happen. Okay.
Moksha does have those kind of mirror shield abilities.
Right, and that's kind of what's happening. So what you get is this overwhelming sensation once you create another bond with Moksha that you feel her basically hijack and solidify, so the two of you are completely psychically entangled. You feel this overwhelming sensation.
I think that it like pops us to where it's suddenly in this like meadow, sort of the courtyard of an archaic manor, and we're wearing sort of frilly pre-colonial garb, and there's like a tea table set up, and suddenly we're just there, teacups in hand. I think that a psychic link between two summoners who use these psychic powers, when it forms like that, it's transportive. We're not actually there, but we just go into that mind place.
Yeah, sure. So you're actually both sitting. Bryn, you're watching this, and you see that they don't move, but you hear this as if some kind of magic has just been sucked out of the room, and just for a moment, there's this freeze. Tag, you're sitting at a small table. You have a saucer in your hand and a teacup raised to your lips, and you can taste that they didn't put enough sugar in your tea. And across from you is Moksha, who's about to take a bite of a crumpet. You both follow through with these gestures, but as she crunches into this little tea treat, both of your eyes grow wide as the memory of where you came from crashes down on you. And with that, the entire place starts to shake, as though it's about to be dispelled, but it holds. And that tremor shrinks into the teapot, essentially. So now it, having been the entire world, you can feel this circle closing into the teapot. And the lid...
And I think visually there's still the table in front of us with all the accoutrements on the table, but we're no longer in this grassy meadow outside of Manor. We are in the middle, just floating on top of this expansive body of water.
Yeah. And the teapot's lid pops off, and out rises this small purple orb. And you know that this orb belongs to Moksha. But with that thought, a red line traces itself in a perfect circumference of the circle. And it reminds you very much of that line that goes down your body, your zipper, as you've referred to it. There's suction, and this energy swirls out of Moksha's temple into the orb, and then it smashes into your face. It just flies through the air and smashes into your face. And both of you are flung into one of Moksha's premonitions. You can tell that this is very old, that it's something that she's experienced before because it feels familiar, but not to you. And you're both there. What you see is several different crystals that are the colors representative of the elements of the continuum system. And inside this circle of crystals, the purple and red are at odds. But you can see that neither of the crystals is gaining ground. They are just locked in an endless struggle, and as they continue to struggle, the other crystals, there's a blight, a bloom, a water, a lightning, these other crystals start to fracture around them as their conflict goes forward, and they start to crumble. And it looks like a stalemate for the two crystals, the red and the purple, the fire and the void, except that the ones that are suffering are the other elements. And as that registers in your mind, that this is a stalemate that has gone on and will go on to the destruction of all other, you are flung back into the little platform in the water, and that orb leaves your head. And then there's a swirl of energy that gloms onto the ball, and it shoots and smacks into Moksha's head. And the two of you are transported into another premonition that you are receiving. And so the two of you, Moksha included, is completely tuned in to this premonition. You see Cenac 88, or you at least assume that it's him, because it is a figure in the disguise with the cape and the handmade mask, floating in a similar circle. Except now instead of these like cone-like crystals, you can just see the planets, and you realize that you're actually in a representation of the continuum system. CNAC 88 touches his chest and then points at what you at first take to be the continuum itself in the center of the system. But you realize as a small beam of energy extends from his finger, it actually stops inches away from the continuum and hits a much smaller moon, which is orbiting it. There's a charge of energy from the device on his chest. The beam carries that forward into what you see as Silva Celesso, and that moon explodes, and from it there is a ripple effect as every planet after it explodes too, until there's only the continuum, which continues to burn brightly, except that now it is all alone and essentially useless. And then you are flung back into the platform on the water, flung back into real time, and both you and Moksha fly in opposite directions and crash into wooden pillars. You both take 2 physical damage, which tag invincible makes it so that you are cool. But what you do realize when this happens is that all this cool shit that Moksha and Ira have been doing when they've been deflecting magic and barely taking any scratches, the moment Moksha smashes into that wooden pillar and takes 2 physical damage, the air is knocked out of her and she stumbles to the ground, clutching her ribs, and is in extreme pain.
Let me make sure one thing is clear before, because that's cool shit, before we move on. The second experience, the second vision, was new to both of us and a premonition that came from Tag's curse/blessing. The first one was came from an experience that Moksha has had, though she wasn't purposefully sharing it. It was an accidental reaction.
Yeah, it was like when you tuned in, it's like I would think that you've been getting used to it now. Like, this is the second time as a player you've queued up a psychic attack on somebody who you know has defenses, and you've tried to judo those defenses against them. You're not trying to get around the defenses, you're trying to deliberately trigger them and use them to that person's disadvantage, which I think is dope, because I didn't expect you to do that. And so in my brain, you were a bit more prepared, though Moksha seems to be very powerful because she's trained specifically with this ability. And so you just triggered a very strong magical and psychic reaction between the two of you, in which these premonitions, probably because yours has been like on deck, triggered and triggered. Because you were trying to send her a vision. You were trying to send her a vision of another parallel immolating. And so you, I think, just set off a bit of a chain reaction in which magic got out of control.
Sure. But ultimately, that vision was never sent. So she still has not seen that, correct?
No, you both saw both of those. Oh, the one where you sent the fire to Barik? Yeah, I would say that gets through. She would see. I mean, like, that would just be like a lower frequency.
Was that first vision a metaphorical representation of that, or that was something else?
That was something else.
Okay, cool.
That's
so then
some
let's say maybe it didn't, my plan didn't go through, and we just, the counter, popped us to that place.
Okay. So I think what happens is Ira and Moksha both take a moment to get to their feet and dust themselves off. Moksha now looks pretty beat up. You would say, if you were able to look at her character sheet, she might be unstable. Ira still looks pretty fresh. They look to Moksha and say, "Are you going to be able to make it through round 2? And Moksha shrugs, and they square off. And again, you see this, the mech has since collapsed. You see this purple void energy spin out of Ira's ring as they begin to create another weapon and square off against the two of you. But
So
before we
just
see what that
round
weapon
one?
is, before we see what that is, we're actually going to cut to the Beacon Opera House and check in with the other half of our squad.
Nice.
Nice. Okay, let me catch yous twos up. Yeah.
Yeah.
When last we saw Sam and Rex, CNAC 88 had just appeared through a portal into the main auditorium of the Beacon Opera House. While floating in the air above the seats, he opened two portals, which poured forth a flood. It seemed as though he had clicked through several different elements with these portals, saying that he learned a few new tricks, landed on water, and then emptied an ocean into the auditorium. Rex, you are currently in the lighting booth with Corvix Filibust, the leader of the Whitecoat Rebels.
I forgot that's what his name was.
Sam, you are navigating the lighting grid, preparing to climb down and rescue Poirot, who is currently trapped in an iron cage on stage. A dozen or so Whitecoats, those who managed to find an elevated position after CNAC flooded the auditorium and their office, draw their void blasters and let loose a volley of neon purple bolts at the robot. Many of these bounce off. CNAC does seem to take a little bit of damage, but even though there's a dozen of these cats, they're not doing too much. Sam, what do you do?
I would like to slide down the ladder, fireman style, hands and feet on the side, and get down to the backstage area as fast as possible.
Okay. You're able to do that no problem. What happens when you get down there is you land in water, which has now climbed to a point where you feel like you're in the deep end of a swimming pool. So you cannot touch the ground. You're actually having to tread water.
Oh, wow. Okay, I swim over to the cage as fast as I can.
The cage is taller than Poirot by about 6 feet. It looks like it was put together with probably some large fencing or something like that. And so Poirot has actually climbed up the side and is hanging off the top, dangling in the water about waist height, which is still rising.
And since I don't have, I look around, is there anybody nearby, any of the scientists perhaps, or a key ring on the wall or anything like that?
There is a couple scientists nearby, but you
Or
didn't
a
see
handy
anybody.
saw that you could just saw right through the metal bars with.
You didn't see anybody who had, who was going to let Poirot out. So there's no handy dandy key ring. There is a couple people nearby. They're scattered all over the auditorium. So you could easily get to somebody if you're trying to, but you don't see a key ring hanging off at anybody's belt.
All right, I'm just going to try to open the cage the old-fashioned way.
You want to pick that lock?
I'm going to try to channel that puck strength and use my purple mitts to just bend the bars enough to pull Poirot out.
Okay.
Nice.
So you will be able to do this, but it's going to take a full success because the bars are not just parallel, they're actually cross-hatched.
Oh, wow.
And it is a thick iron cage. It doesn't look like they specifically put Poirot in this thing to really lock him down. It looks like it's just the only thing they could build.
Okay.
Good thing you're very strong and we have confidence in your abilities.
All right.
Yeah, we love you, Casey. You got this.
I'm glad you got it.
You got it.
Full success. All right. So, well, I may as well describe it because that's the part I have control over. So Sam swims
Hashtag
over.
story time at some point tonight. I think we'd like to hear about the second ex-wife.
All right.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of our new perks in chat. So it looks like we're going to have a flashback with Sam about your second ex-wife, which we will handle not in this moment, but before we are
We have
through.
flashback perks now?
That's exactly what I thought. That's so cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Points to whoever came up with that. That's great.
Yeah.
Who are we thanking for this?
Merc.
Merc.
Thank you, Mark.
Merc.
Thank you,
Thank
Mark.
you, Merc.
Thanks, Merc.
Merc bringing all the ruckus. Rap battles, flashbacks,
Gifts.
gifts,
Gifts.
Elf on the Shelves.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. It was there with you when you had the giraffe.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we cut to Bryn as Ira and Moksha are squaring up, and Bryn sees right past Ira's shoulder there is actually an elf on the shelf sitting on one of the decorative rocks.
And it looks
Cut back to
grumpy.
Sam.
It's judging you.
Sam, you're preparing to bend some bars.
Yeah, so Sam is going to swim over, and since I can't touch the ground anymore, he's going to climb up on top of the cage and sort of squat down in a sumo stance and grab it with both hands. And the purple energy starts to run down from the base of his spine down along his arms. And in his arms, like this aura just starts to grow around each of his arms until they appear, thick with purple energy. And he grabs a hold of it and intends to yell something macho like yeah baby, or like let's see, oh gosh, I don't have any zingers ready.
Yeah, baby's pretty good.
Yeah.
But instead some sort of like puckism slips out of his mouth as he's channeling the powers, and he's like I don't know, something like, hold tight, it's pretty wet in there, or just something just absolutely revolting to say. I'm just like, how did that slip out of my mouth? All right.
The way I want to do this, Casey, Sam / Puck, is that you're going to spend one of your charges for your Puck powers, and you'll be able to use Puck's strength modifier, which I believe is larger than Sam's.
It is, by far.
Okay.
By far. Makes this potentially possible. So, sumo squat, links his fingers in, and strains away. No, sir, not a full success.
Okay, what did you roll?
An 8.
Okay, cool. That's not going to completely lock you out. What you see is that you're going to be able to do this, but it is going to take some time. Probably 2 turns.
Okay.
So you are now prying the bars apart, and you are making progress, but you're having to rip multiple areas to try and free this. But will you tell me what it looks like when you go full Puck mode and tear into this cage? Because you're making progress. It's not like nothing happens. You're ripping bars off this thing. There's just a lot of them.
Yeah, I think is basically what happens is Sam is able to pull the bars up, and it starts to bend upwards, and he's like, oh, I can rip it all the way off, but realizes that his stance is not nearly wide enough and is standing on the bars that he's like trying to rip up, so he has to like stop and let go and move to another location to finish prying it up. It's like getting half of the lid off like a can of tuna or something like that, and then realizing you've got to get the can opener back out again and like go back around the edge, because you're like, oh, how did I like miss this one section of can? I imagine it's something along those lines.
Okay. Rex, you see this happening from your vantage in the lighting booth. One of the last things that happened is that CNAC88 had I think that you had thrown a whiskey bottle at him or something and then asked him what he was doing. And he said, I'm here for that guy. And he had pointed at Perot. So he is aware of what Sam and Puck are doing. And he is now floating towards them. It looks like he's preparing to channel some kind of portal. You actually see the water start to taper off from the outlets, and he's manipulating them as he's moving towards Sam. What would you like to do?
What I would like to do is something potentially very reckless.
I love it so much.
Into it.
In my head, I can leap somehow from the lighting booth to a catwalk to get closer to him.
I believe you have a skill called 6 stunts.
6 stunts. Yes, I do have 6 stunts. That's right. So I'm going to use those 6 stunts to leap like a jungle cat out onto these catwalks. And I'm going to say, you'll have to get through me first, as I simultaneously like fling my shield right at where the device is. And then I start ripping electrical wires so that, I just have fistfuls of these wires that are sparking off at the ends like I'm about to zap them.
Okay. You got Graflex, not your shield, but Graflex is cooler anyways, and does kind of the same shit.
Yeah.
So first, let's do 6 stunts. 6 stunts.
6 stunts. That is a 10.
Okay. You do 6 stunts, my dude. It's the way that I wrote it. So you are able to jump out of the lighting booth, grab the grid above, and swing up onto it. You are very strong. So you are able to just grab a bundle of wires out of the back of 2 lights and rip them up. They are now sparking in your hands. What would you like to do?
That was sick.
CNAC sees this and goes, "Yeah, all right," and turns around and starts to float up to the grid towards you. The portals that he's been shifting with, he kind of puts on hold. So there's actually just 2 portals that are still blue, floating in the air, not doing anything. But they are still
out of them. Oh, now I want to jump through one of them so bad, but I feel like that's also a bad idea.
You do whatever you want, man.
Could be cool.
It could be very cool. Could be terrible. But I also flung Graflex. Do we want to resolve that
so
first?
roll. Yeah, I think if you're throwing it, it's a dex.
Okay.
Dex to kick some ass.
My dex is not that great. But kick smash will balance it out, so maybe it'll be fine.
Some cool
Oh
stuff.
boy. Oh boy. I have 2 +1s, Merc? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm
When
gonna
you get
use
+1?
both of them and make it not a fail.
Okay.
Wow.
Listen, I really want to hit him.
Yeah, no, that was a supportive wow. I'm not talking shit.
Okay. You guys have fought CNAC before, so some of this is going to be familiar. You rolled a partial success, correct?
Correct.
Sam, please roll a dexterity check.
Oh no.
Okay. Can I just say I pass? I pass. All right, nice. Yeah.
Hey!
Full
That's-
success?
Full success.
Cool.
That's
So-
the best roll I've ever had.
Rex, you've on your jump, we're going to take it a step back. You will eventually swing up and grab these wires as Graflex is spinning. But before you leap out of the lighting booth, you did throw Graflex. You watch as it flies directly at CNAC. It is a beautiful toss.
Perfect.
Fucking textbook mace throw. But CNAC waves a hand and creates a portal immediately in front of him, which Graflex flies through. CNAX waves another hand behind him, creating a portal immediately behind him, and Graflex flings out of it towards Sam, who looks up in time to duck.
Curse my metal body, I wasn't quick enough. #Rex.
Oh,
There you go, Rex. Who's
I'm
that
sure
from?
I'll need it again real soon.
From
That's
Thing?
from Thing.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Oh,
Thing.
thanks, Thing.
Thing?
Thank you.
So Graflex spins over Sam and then bloop, splashes into the water and sinks down underneath. So you missed with the toss.
Did it do
CNAX
some damage to those bars? It's very powerful.
It did not. It flew over Sam's head. You guys are kind of high up, so the arc was off. CNAC was really trying to smack Sam in the dome. Okay.
Not cool, bro.
You see Rex up on top of the grid that you just left holding these bundles of live wires while you're ripping the cage. You do notice that below you, Sam, you are no longer in the water because you're on top of this cage, which is above it. But Poirot and about a dozen white coats are in the water. What would you like to do?
I'm going to expend another charge in an attempt to prevent ye old frog legs from drowning in this cage.
Okay. How? You're just trying to rip through the cage still, or are you trying to do
Yes.
something different? Okay.
No, still trying to rip through the cage.
Your roll from before will hold. If you want to try again, you can try and roll a full success to make it happen this turn. Otherwise, it's going to happen next turn.
Oh, I can just keep pulling.
You can just keep burning on a partial. You can try and affect the roll, but you will open yourself up to failure. If you roll another partial, you cruise through to next turn like normal. Success makes it happen now. Failure might have a consequence.
So, if I do nothing, it opens next round.
Yes.
But
I have a lot of wires and there's a lot of water.
Okay.
And I may not know much science, but I know that's bad.
Yes. Sparks and Splish Splash do not go together unless you're trying to barbecue yourself.
Yeah.
Perot, where is the manual? Where have you hidden the manual?
He's holding on. The water has stopped rising, but it's about up to his chest. And he says, I told you, I will not give you the location. You must free me, or I will take it into my own hands.
Take it to your grave, dog.
Poirot will never die.
Tell that to the floating angry robot that's on its way back here any minute. But yeah.
He looks over his shoulder and he says, hey, you rotten bucket of bolts. Poirot will never die. And he reaches into his trench coat and pulls out what looks like a brick of clay, sticks it under his arm, changes his grip, reaches into his trench coat, and pulls out what looks like a television remote. Poirot is indestructible.
Can you please not blow up yourself with C4 right now? I'm going to get you out of here. Let's not. You don't need to prove that you will never die by blowing us up.
You're saying this as you are ripping through the bars. Do you want to roll anything, or are you going to cruise through to next turn?
No, I think I got to roll. If this dude is going to do something cuckoo, like, how did they frisk him?
It looks like they didn't do a good job frisking him because, first of all, he really did one of those things where he really was digging in there to grab it, but also a pocket watch had fallen out of his pocket earlier too. It seems like he still had some shit on him. He's wearing a trench.
Oh yeah, you still have to tell us about that pocket watch, I think.
I was reminded before the session, so I've planned accordingly. He's wearing a coat like Hagrid's. It's just like 1,000 pockets. So yeah, roll it up plus strength. You can ride the charge that you already burned. Those are pretty expensive charges, so you can still have puck strength for this entire maneuver that you're doing.
All right. This time I'm feeling good about it. Feeling really good. I ate my Spriggan Wheaties. They're like little bowl of void flakes.
Should have just rolled through, man.
No.
I
pressured him.
It's a partial.
Partial?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to be able to open this next turn. But as you are prying this apart, Poirot has less bars to grab onto without getting in your way. And he moves down to the side. And you can see that he's still got the remote control in one hand and the brick of clay underneath his arm. And he says, Poirot! And he... I have a written description of this, I think. Where is this bastard? He takes it. It just says he takes a deep breath and dives under the water, disappearing below the surface, which is rather dirty as it has pulled up all of the dirt and dust and sawdust and screws from this place. And disappears underwater.
I'm just thinking of the high school backstage that I worked at. Gross.
Rex, what are you doing? You got some electrical cables. I just want to be clear. Before anything happens, we had a long discussion about consequences, okay? So I just want to put that out there.
We did. A very long discussion.
Look, Jesse, do you want to have a show that's educational
that teaches people to exercise caution for fear of consequences? Or do you want to have some buck wild
Hashtag Sam
adventurers
praying
trying
for
some
you.
shit?
Also, trench coat space fits everything, including and especially a large mallet.
Oh, that's
Aw.
that's for Sam.
Who sent that?
Thank you,
Merc.
Merc.
Thanks,
Merc
Merc.
just
Merc,
spoiling
thanks,
us.
Merc.
To answer your question, Connor, most of the time I want to have a buck wild experience where anything goes. But for the Void Arc, I want it to be dangerous.
Okay.
Rex.
Is he in the water or is he now floating above the water?
Sinek?
Yeah.
He's been floating the whole time. So he's
Okay.
actually about eye level with you now. He's floated up
Yeah.
towards the grid. You have, with your 6 stunts and throwing your mace at him, you've fully taken his attention.
Okay, cool. That was my goal. I can picture in my head what I want to do, but I think it's just too dangerous right now. So I'm gonna hold off. But I will yell down to everyone who's still on the floor, like, get out of the water, you idiot! Meanwhile, while I internally summon Graflex back towards me with the intent that CNAC will not see it coming this time.
Okay, cool. So here's what's up. Everybody is still kind of shooting at CNAC, so void bolts are just bouncing around the grid around you. They're not really worrying about shooting you, but you don't take any damage. And they hear you say that, and they kind of like laugh, like, yeah, we're trying to. And then they see the electrical cables that you're holding, and they all like throw their weapons and just start scrabbling up. And you can see that they've all managed to get out of the water, but they're all kind of stranded on the tops of like old opera sets, and some of them have just climbed the curtains. You know, they've all managed to, but they've stopped their assault to do so.
Well, it didn't seem like it was doing any good, so.
Here's what's up. So you're going to try and attack with a Graflex return pull. The way that's going to work is you're actually going to use magic because you're trying to aim it with your connection. And because it is an attack, you will be able to grab Graflex. It will come back to you. This will just dictate whether or not you will be able to hit CNAC with it.
All right. What bonus are we using for this?
This will be magic, which I don't think is your strong suit.
Yeah, it's not.
You will have +1s though.
I do have a +1.
Use 2 +1s.
No, I use them both to make my other one not fail.
Oh, you use both of them. I don't know
Yeah.
how far. Okay.
Oh no. I'm just gonna go ahead and mark down some experience.
What?
Experience marked.
So here's what's going to happen. We're going to kind of bookmark this next sequence events in time because they're going to unfold in slow motion as Sam will have an opportunity to make some choices as well. So let me just make sure that I read this correctly. Sidestep. Okay, you do get a chance. So you're going to actually roll 2 separate dexterity checks.
Okay.
This is the first one.
Just gonna go ahead and level up.
Okay. So here's what's up. There's still a portal right behind CNAC and right in front of it. His mask, when Graflex crests the water, or breaches the water, he's going to pick up on it, and you actually see his head, robot style, turn 180 degrees, so he's looking behind him. And then he moves his arms to just slightly redirect the portals that are already available to him. And he catches Graflex in the one that's behind him, aiming the one that's in front of him at you. That failed dex check was to dodge this. So Graflex actually flings through his portal and flies out and smacks you as it's kind of spinning. It hits you right in the chest, dealing
Rude.
full damage that Graflex does, which
Very rude.
is...
I believe 3, if I remember correctly.
And you're not corrupt, so it won't deal additional. So it deals 3. So it deals 3 physical damage to you, knocking you off of your feet. You're now going to make a second dexterity check.
Oh, boy.
You can do it. I believe in you.
That'd be so good. Relief.
That is a 8.
Okay, cool. You manage to keep a hold of one of the electrical cables while you are flung backwards. Luckily, you shouted to everybody to get out of the water. Unfortunately, Poirot was under, so you probably did not get through to him. You fly and land on your back and let go of one of the cables, which starts to noodle down towards the water. But this is the moment in time that we are bookmarking. So we're actually going to flip to Sam and give him an opportunity to react to the situation before anything happens. Sam, you now rip through the cage, opening it completely. You now have access to the inside of the cage. You do see an electrical cable heading down towards the water. What would you like to do? You probably have time to do one thing.
Can I see Perot under the water?
Yeah, you can see him. So I have this written too. He's such a dork, that Perot. You see him swimming to keep himself. He's actually letting out all of his air so that he can sink. You see him affix that clay brick to the stage and then starts swimming back up to the surface.
Great. I'm going to reach in, grab him by the collar, and try to pull him out of the water before he becomes well done.
Okay. This is a strength check, and I believe because the cage is broken, you are now back to Sam stats.
I will use another charge then, sir.
All right.
Regular Sam strength could not open a box of Cracker Jacks. Crayons. I like that. That's good. Okay. All right, here we go. For all the marbles. I'm overdue for a full success. And with puck strength, that is a full success right there.
Hot damn!
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
We believe.
Your arm reaches into the water, and immediately this puck tidal wave of an outer shell cascades down and creates a much larger fist, and you grab Perot around the collar and yank him out of the water, holding him up so his little toes are just dangling an inch above when the electrical cable hits. All of the lights in the room flicker as this huge surge of electricity just nukes this lake that's been created.
Oh, God. We're standing on a metal cage.
Oh, I didn't even...
Don't remind Jesse of that!
You're going to take... You and Perot are both going to take 3 magic damage as you are both electrocuted. And it's very much cartoon style, like... in the flickering light. Like, you see Sam, his skeleton, and then it switches, then the next strobe switches to Puck, and like Perot's just like... but it just deals 3 magic damage, which does not kill Perot, but he does look like he is unstable. He's not wearing any armor.
Wait, what about his ego? That certainly must shield him from something.
You will never die, but it will be a painful life.
It shields him from emotional harm.
Okay, oh right, I forgot we have that 3rd damage stat, which is emotional harm.
We should.
Cuts out to the Beacon Opera House, and you are plunged into darkness, but it also means that electric cable, which is now dangling into the water, is no longer live.
I meant to do that.
You hear Rex say that in the darkness, though you have no idea where anybody is. You're teetering on this cage, steaming, Sam, holding Perot.
Oh, come on, we gotta know where CNAG is. He's gotta be glowing.
Rex, you see
Fair point. Fair point.
there are 4 portals in the air that are glowing, but you do not see CNAC. Rex, you see in front of you this very small light with a mechanical turn as these 2 glowing eyes turn back around and are looking directly at you in the darkness. And then Perot says, "Whoops!" And there is, I have this written too.
Oh no.
There is a subdued explosion. Sam, you and Perot are thrown up and away from the cage. You are lifted into the air and flung out into the water. What else is it? He was supposed to be in the cage when that went off, so none of this is really relevant. There's a big flash that comes from underneath the water, and you can see this bubble and then hear a geyser of water and debris and lumber just clack through the iron cage. Sam, you are plunged underwater. You spin around and are oriented and lose Perot. There is a moment in which you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, and then you feel it. There is a current in the water now, and it is pulling you.
You're welcome. Electricity.
Different kind of current, Rex.
Hey-o.
It's more of a riptide. It is pulling you back towards what you assume is the cage and the hole Perot just punched into the floor.
Oh.
We are going to cut back to the dojo, Ira's dojo. They've just squared off against you to begin round 2. You can see, Bryn and Tag, that Ira is doing something different than they have done so far. You've seen them make some melee weapons, a shield, even create a mech suit, which took a significant amount of void energy. What is charging up now seems to just be an ult, for lack of a better word. They are preparing something that is pulling a tremendous amount of energy. You can actually feel the dojo shaking. Bren, in the same way that you just reached into the planet to kind of pull up this void energy and siphon it, you can feel the giraffe fox, which is made from filtered and transformed void energy. The fire starts to burn away and become void energy as the creature is sucked back out from under you and you fall onto your feet. Before it does, you reach into the cloud and yank what is an abstract item at first, but pull back your staff, saving it. But your creature has now disbanded and joined all of this flood of energy that's heading towards Ira's ring. Moksha has knocked an arrow, but has stopped, looks at Ira, then looks around the room like she can see something you guys can't, and she actually lets the arrow go and turns and starts to run away. Bryn. Oh, sorry, Tag.
I put my hands up and I step in front of Ira and I say, "You win. You win. Game over. We win. I don't care what happens. Moksha, you saw what I saw, right?"
Moksha slides to a stop in the sand, and you can see her hesitating. She's looking at you, Tag, then looking at the building like, you know, she looks like she's seeing ghosts, and kind of eyeing the exit, but she hasn't moved. I'm going to let this move stand, Tag. This will have an effect, but I want to give Bryn an opportunity to react to it before I resolve it. Ira's hearing you. Your words will have an impact, but Bryn, what do you do?
So, am I sensing that something's wrong? Are you saying?
I think that I
You
can
please,
take this
thank
opportunity. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. Go for it, Jesse.
No, I was just saying it's not. It looks like she's making, or they're making a nuke. It's like they're prepping a monster of a spell.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'll look to answer Lisa your question of did Bryn hear you? I'll even Tag looks back at Bryn with that like this shit's serious in his eyes, a look that I think they know well now. And
Right, because at first I'm like, I'm not giving up. He doesn't win. They don't win. They do not win. So
right, the game doesn't matter. Bryn, I saw something. The whole continuum system disintegrating away, exploding, collapsing. The weapon, Cenac, he leveled whole planets. Fire, water, void looking Ira. What we're doing here, it's been fun. It doesn't matter. What I've seen in the past has come to pass unless we do something about it. And I've never felt something of the magnitude of what I just saw.
As Tag saying this spell is something that I intended to be like a 2-round cast time. So you will have time to resolve this conversation. But Ira
lifts up, like not deliberately, but the power is elevating her. They start to float. There's this purple fire, this purple transparent fire. It's like an energy rippling over them. Their long black hair starts to raise into these long spikes and turn bleach blonde, like they're going Super Saiyan, and they're just like, yeah, like just absorbing all of this void energy into the ring, and it's starting to turn into this orb that is just growing. You can see now tendrils, these purple tendrils, whipping out of all of the technology in the house, all of the magic. Bryn, you feel it being pulled from your staff, being pulled from you. Something about the void energy, its ability to be an anti-magic field. It has a way to decode and deconstruct magic. It's just doing what you just filtered, like the reverse of that. It's pulling everything in, and they're just, yeah, creating this big bomb.
So,
Moksha is still frozen, halfway to the door.
was Moksha the person that was blocking us telepathically? Or was that
Yes.
both? If that was just okay.
Just Moksha.
I look at Tag and I'm like, I believe you. I trust you. I know your premonitions. I look at Ira and I'm like, I cannot leave this person like this. So I'm going to attempt to reach Ira through hypnosis to like man down or gun down.
Okay.
Hoping that Moksha does not block it this time.
Okay. Roll it. It's just plus magic.
I rolled an 11, so yes.
Okay, let me look at what Moksha said.
The most insolent, just like, I don't even want to do the math, Jesse. It's a full success.
Whenever they use tune in, anything less than a full success is countered by Moksha. But you rolled a full success. So on your hypnosis roll, on a full success, I actually copied and pasted it this time so I wouldn't have to bullshit through it. On a full success with hypnosis, the target must now obey your every command.
Nice.
The first thing I'm going to do is just reach out to Ira and be like, this was a lot of fun, but you really, really have to go to the bathroom.
They lower to the sand, which starts to glass over as they touch down. They are still wrapped in transparent purple fire. Their hair is still Super Saiyan mode, and this now giant spirit bomb above them is still there. And they say, we're seeing like veins bulging, blood vessels in the eyes rupturing as they hold this, and they say, "If you'll excuse me just a moment." And they set the spell in like stasis mode, like screensaver mode, and then float out of the dojo and turn into a hallway where you can't.
Are they doing that little walk where their legs are together?
They're actually floating, so they've got their legs crossed, like when you're sitting down and trying not to pee. They've got their legs crossed in the air as they float away.
That's good.
Moksha is just frozen, and they grab the side of their head and they look around again, and they say, I can't track anything you're doing. I can't track anything.
Well, we're not pulling the fast one, Moksha. You saw the planets explode, right?
Yes, I mean, I can't. My sight, it's blocked. Something about the two of you. You're too chaotic. You're too unpredictable. I can't see past anything that you're doing.
Bryn and I do a no-look high five.
This was so much fun, and I hate to have to leave. We really do. We've been called away at something urgent. Thank you for your hospitality. I'm sorry to not be able to say goodbye to Ira. And I look around and I find a scrap of something, and I hastily just write, "This was so much fun. I'd call it a draw. Look forward to round 2.
Moksha says you can't go. The duel ends when one of you is defeated or one of you forfeits. And then she points up, and you see that bomb still just floating there. And then you hear in the background, while you're looking at this, a toilet flush. And Ira comes floating back out of the hallway towards the dojo and says, "Where were we?"
We were just forfeit.
Floats back up and starts creating this bomb again. You've bought yourself some time, but it looks like whatever is going to happen, you are bound by the rules. And this makes sense to you, Bryn. If you were to, like, challenge a visiting summoner to a duel on your planet, and then they just left in the middle of it, it would say a lot about not only their family, but probably their planet, their magic. So I guess what I'm saying is you can leave, but I just want you to know what's up.
I'd have to forfeit.
Or win.
Or what?
Bryn, this is not for me to not a call for me to make. And if you want to fight, I'll fight. I can only share the little that I can glean, and your family name, pride, won't be worth a lot if there is no void planet or fire planet.
What if you, like, knock me out and then I'm unconscious for a little bit, and then I don't lose to him, I lose to you? Them, sorry.
Yeah, here. And
Just
I
clock me real good.
signal for her to do one of these with her hands. You know, the like help somebody up kind of move. Yeah, thank you. I think that there's probably just like, I know that Tag just spoke out against the silliness of code, but there's still something in his wiring that's like, I can't punch my own summoner. And he puts one foot in that thing and just launches himself right into the void orb, hovering in the air.
Oh my god.
Dives into the supernova.
That's not what I said to do!
Sorry, I don't want to punch you.
Oh no.
Do you have an end game in mind?
Yeah, if we I think Bryn was trying to leave. That didn't work. You said it has to reach the end of it. So yeah, just to lose.
By
To the
immolating
maneuver
yourself?
that you're doing.
Well, it's a summoner's duel. It takes us down to 1 HP and then it ends.
Okay. Fuck, man. I'm just trying to figure out if there's something to roll. If you're just trying to fling yourself into the thing, I will allow you to just do that.
Would it disrupt it?
We don't know what it's gonna do.
I assume it blows me up to 1 HP, and unless they're secretly evil and the summoner's duel was just a ruse. But if that's the case, I don't know that we would be bound. I guess, Jesse, if you're saying we tried to leave and could not, then it seems like it is a true summoner's duel.
No, you've already initiated this thing. So I'm just trying to figure out if you're trying to go into the thing. You're trying to go into the thing?
I'm trying to die.
Okay. Yeah, all right. You you fling
I'm
tag.
playing in the playground you made.
Who does a backflip?
Give you a beautiful little offer. She wrapped it in a bow of the bathroom thing. It was like goodbye and making a leave, and you were like, "No."
I was a little hard on you. It would let you. I just wanted to know what the stakes were. You know, we're kind of defining the rules of a summoner thing. It would have said a lot about the relations moving forward. All right, yeah, you fling tag into this thing, and it goes off. It's in the air because it's been collecting in the air. But the last thing you guys see is just this blinding purple light. And then you feel this searing pain. There is a physical aspect to it because it is simply too much energy. So it feels like you're getting a sunburn, an 8 hours worth of the day sunburn in 1 second. And then you feel it just pulverizing that part of you that is connected to magic. And the camera, we see Tag flip in slow motion into this thing, kind of like giving Bryn a thumbs up. And as he passes, it just explodes. The camera cuts to an aerial shot of the mansion, which just fucking levels. This purple mushroom cloud just blossoms into the sky. The entire mansion, all of the outbuildings, they just get blown over in the shockwave. The landscaping's ruined. The place is far enough back. It's got several acres around it. And this is not actually a nuke. It is just a very large explosion of void. It's far enough back that it's only the house and the outbuildings that take it. And as the smoke clears, we cut back into the house and we see all four of you laid out. You have been protected by that magical ward that keeps the Summoner's Duel a Summoner's Duel. You are now all unstable and at 1 HP. And Ira is standing there. The hair unbleaches and falls back down, and they say, "Do you yield?" And behind them, a big pillar falls over. There is no house left. Moksha's plastered up against debris. The whole place is just fucked up.
Looks like it. Looks like a draw to me.
Falls over backwards, unconscious, as do the two of you. And we cut back to the Beacon Opera House, where Sam is pulled through the water and then up against the iron bars of the cage while it's draining. Sam, roll I think it's just a strength check. This is just going to be for holding your breath.
Okay. That's a cocked die. I will be re-rolling that.
Obviously.
Okay, I'm just going to double check here real quick just to... Oh, either way, it's a partial success.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you're fine. You're holding your breath. You don't feel like you could be under here for a long time, but you're also not drowning. What would you like to do? It's pitch black, you're underwater, and you're being pulled against this cage by the suction of the hole as the water drains out of this place.
I'm going to turn around to face the cage and use it to climb up above the surface of the water.
Sure, no problem. You get up onto the cage. It's a little hard to stand up there because you and Puck ripped the top apart, but there is... the way that I see it, it was like... You know that thing Hannibal's in Silence of the Lambs? Like that big, huge enclosure? I kind of saw it.
Like a bird cage, almost.
Yeah. So you're able to climb up onto the top of it and get safe. What would you like to do?
Can I see Perot from where I am?
No. Perot and you flew into the water, and now you lost him, and it is dark.
That is not good.
You do feel the cage shaking, and you hear from the other side of it, Perot will never die.
All right, I'm going to go to the other side of the cage, and I will grab Perot again.
Yes, he's over there, and you can handle.
Yeah. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick 2-minute break. You got your hands on Perot. We'll pick up right there.
All right.
Perot.
It did that for me on my stream.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry for the delay, but we appreciate your patience. We're going to pick up right where we left off. So, Sam, you are standing on top of the cage in the pitch black, and you are holding Poirot by the collar. You've managed to lift him out of the water and into the safety of your arms.
Aww.
What would you like to do?
Well, first of all, he's never felt so safe in all his life, so I'm going to give him a moment to enjoy himself, and just before we make our daring escape by jumping into the hole in the cage and through the hole in the floor to be sucked out with the water.
Okay. Poirot says, before you jump, Poirot says, all right, a deal is a deal. Let's go get your little coloring book. And the two of you jump into the water in the cage?
Yes.
Okay. Rex, all you hear is the mumble of some Frenchmen in the distance, and then a big splash, followed by a second, slightly smaller splash. Sam, you are going to roll plus Dex.
That is a natural 12.
Okay, cool. That was going to determine how rough this ride was going to be for you. You are pulled down into the floor beneath the stage, but there is several grates embedded in the foundation of this place which drain into, well, you're not sure, but they are large tunnels. Kind of picture Neo being awoken in First Matrix. You start sliding down these tunnels, and you can feel that Poirot is close behind you. And you are now sliding down these tunnels because you have you rolled such perfect dex. You will not take any damage. You're able to kind of work the curves of this thing almost as though you've got a knack for it. And the two of you are now swirling and swirling and swirling down the drain.
Speaking of
Rex.
working the curves, don't forget we got a flashback with Sam's
Oh yeah.
ex-wife.
Oh yeah, that's right. We're going to resolve one thing, and then I think we might actually do that.
We don't have more pressing matters?
Only a little. Rex. You see the floating, glowing X's of Sinak's eyes swivel again, and then swivel back to you. And he says, well, shit, Rex. Stop distracting me. And with a wave of his hands, you can see the portals, all 4 of them. There are 2 blue, 2 red. The ones that he was using to kind of redirect the attacks are the smaller red ones. The larger blue ones are the ones that water pulled through. You can see that all 4 of them start flipping through colors in the way that you did before. And he is rearranging them, pulling them closer together, and they start to blend to create one singular portal, which begins to form a doorway. But before he's able to do anything, you will have an opportunity to do something. It is dark. The light from the portals is enough that you can now see Sinak's silhouette, but you are still up on the grid of the opera house.
So does the bundle of wires that I had before, has that now gone dead as well?
Yes, it seems like you short-circuited the power to the entire opera house. And because it is a derelict building, there doesn't seem to be a backup generator kicking on anytime soon.
Nice job, Trent.
Thank you.
You cut that power.
Meant to do that.
Good
Totally
for
meant to do
power.
that. Oh, the urge to just do something totally reckless. It's so difficult. That's so difficult to fight.
Now, to be clear, what I was cautioning you against was large-scale catastrophes. I think that Rex putting herself on the line is not necessarily what I was cautioning you against in the past.
Okay.
Now, if there was 12 people in the water when you dropped the electricity in, that would have applied.
That would have been bad. I didn't want to do
trying
that.
I'm not trying to, put the safety bumpers on your bowling lane. I'm just saying, think about the peoples,
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I do want to think about the people, and I like that we care about the people in this game. I just really want to jump through one of those portals, but I don't think that I should.
Jump, kid. At this point, the portals actually changed appearance. And so before, when he's opened the portals to the red space, it looks like a burning energy. The one to the blue you had some idea that it led to a watery place. The thing that he's opened now, by combining these, has flipped into a more traditional doorway, a passage of sorts. And so on the other side of it, you can see a location that you do not recognize. It does not look like a strange place.
Well, then I think what I'm going to do is, you can't really see it because it's dark, but if you could see it, it would be very cinematic running with Graflex hoisted in the air, like I'm going straight for his eyes. And so he's just turning around and facing me. The red X's are gleaming. He's like, she's coming right for me. But then in the last second, I turn my body midair and leap through the portal.
Okay. I'm going to make you roll Dex, but I'm going to give you a +1 because of the ruse.
Yeah. Which is good, because my Dex is not great. I should really up my Dex. Maybe that will be my... Oh yeah, let's just do that right now.
Before we see your result, you're more than welcome to with your level up. But before we see your result, just tell me what you did with the cable in your hand.
I think that I let it go, but draped it over something so that it wasn't going to connect to any water.
Okay.
Just very quickly.
You can use your level up to up your Dex, and it will apply to this roll.
I think I should do that, given how I've been rolling tonight.
I'm gonna mark it on your sheet, so it's permanent.
Come on, baby. Oh God.
You now have a +2. Does that matter?
More level ups. More level ups.
Okay.
Even adding my +1 still doesn't matter.
Okay.
Wow.
What did you roll?
Oh wait a minute. Wait, I forgot you gave me a +1. So if I use that and the one I have in the bank. It's now a mixed success.
Okay, cool.
That is working hard for mediocrity right there. Really pulling out
It
all
really
the stops to
is.
get an average result.
Okay, so yeah, this is strange. We're gonna go to a place that I hadn't really thought we'd end up at yet, but we're gonna go there. You are on top of a grid, and
I summon Graflex to me as I go if I didn't already have Graflex already.
You did. I believe you were charging samurai style.
Yeah, that's right.
So you are on top of this grid, you know, probably 40, 50 feet above this very large opera house. And Cenac is about level with you, and he's pulled these portals to a little bit below him. And you trick him so he braces for impact and begins to create a sidestep portal that he's been using to deflect your shit. And you change directions and just dive off into the doorway that he's created. And in doing so, when he goes to block you or make a wormhole for you to pass through and probably die somewhere, the portal that has opened as a gateway closes to make way for this new one right behind you as you slip through, so that you actually land into this place alone. You see that you are in what looks like an old company factory. It would be an assembly line, and so you see a lot of disassembled robots that are hanging on racks that would have at some point, like dry cleaning racks, been moving through. There's a lot of mechanical arms that would have been placing legs and bolting them in. We've all seen Star Wars, you know, like we've seen droids get put together. That's just what you're in, and it's cavernous. But the place that you've landed in has actually been lit with a few small lanterns. And there is a couple different workstations that have been cobbled together from these different places. And on them, there are blueprints. You see another mask like the one Cenac has been made. It's in a vice, kind of in the process of being made. It looks like he's trying to recreate the one that has the Void Erixes in it, and it's not quite done. But it looks like you've just landed in a place that we will refer to as Cenac's lair. What would you like to do? You are not sure how long. He obviously can travel wherever he wants to go, so you're not sure how long you will have this place to yourself, but as of right now, you are alone.
I think first step is to rehoist Graflex and smash the mask.
Okay, cool. You are able to destroy it. There's nobody here to stop you, and you are more than capable, so you just bash it to pieces.
Cool. I think the next step is to try and quickly gather as much information as I can about this and then investigate what's going on here.
What there is there's several old computers that look like they've been hot-wired together. Everything it's all improvised. It looks like Cenac was able to piece together this entire station using old parts, decommissioned parts of all these machines. And then you can see little battery packs. We've talked about them before. They're like void chargers or something. You guys found them once before. That's just what is used to power technology. Oh no, they're shock cartridges. They're from your planet. You see that he's hooked up these cartridges to a lot of the computers, and so you're able to just like go through these old school towers and push the floppy disk eject button on 4 or 5 of them that have been strapped together and pull out all of these floppy disks and put them into your pocket.
Yes, that's definitely Rex's method for dealing with problems, is to carefully and delicately plot things.
You do it in the Rex fashion without breaking them. You would be able to use these computers to look at this information if you'd like. You will probably not have much time.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm like trying to be as fast as possible here.
Cool. Yeah, you're able to grab a bunch of different floppy disks and make out with them. What are you doing? You sticking around, or are you getting out of here? There doesn't seem to be.
I think I'm gonna take a few more swings after I've like pulled these floppy disks to try and like set back whatever is happening here, maybe try and interfere with it. But I think it's really like a grab and then smash kind of operation, whereas just trying to get through there as quick as possible, but do some damage.
There's no reason to roll for this. You're just a bull in a china shop, and you are able to just demolish all of the computers. You smash the desks in half. You upend the toolboxes and ruin a lot of those. And you just leave this place in shambles. There's just a couple lanterns on their side and not much else. Just debris at this point.
There's an armoire filled with clothes. She unrolls all the socks and re-rolls them with other socks they're unmatching.
Are
Chaos agent. No? Say it again.
Do you take off or do you stick around?
Oh, I'm getting out of there.
Okay.
I don't feel confident in my ability to face that creature alone.
Sure. You're able to leave, and as you depart, you don't even see, there's no like last minute, you just got out of there in time. Nobody follows you through, and you are able to run out of this factory building onto what looks like it's like a company campus that is dark. It looks to have been, at least the area that you're in, decommissioned. But it is very much like a company campus where there are several different research laboratories, a couple factories, a couple high rises where the executives would oversee things, like a helipad. There's a bunch of shit, but none of it at least near you, seems to be in use. And you take off into this company campus and run away. Sam, you're able to hold your breath for a good long time as you snake down this tube. But you do start to feel the strain of holding your breath. And that presence of Poirot, who's been trying to work the curves like you behind you and has occasionally bumped into you in a very frantic manner, has now settled. And you're afraid one of the last thoughts that you have before you too black out is that you guys are going to drown. And you feel yourself slipping away into a dark place. And even though there's no water in this vision or anything like that, you do feel as though you are sinking. But before you're able to get very far, Puck's arm reaches down into your vision and grabs you around the wrist. And as soon as he makes contact with you, you are catapulted back in time to a place where you were also wet. You are standing in the rain outside a restaurant that is full. And your who is it? Is it your second ex-wife or just one of your ex-wives?
I think Merc said second ex-wife.
Second ex-wife. What is her name?
I should tell you in private. I should just because I think you'll have fun with it.
Okay. It is your anniversary, and you are outside the restaurant where the two of you went on your first date, a very popular place in downtown Void. You can see from outside that the place is packed. It is Friday night, dinner time, and you have just arrived on the doorstep, and the two of you are huddled underneath a umbrella, but you're giving her a bit more of the real estate, so you are kind of soaking wet.
It's one thing I'm always good for. If my professional baseball career doesn't work out, I can always be an umbrella.
So, your wife, Sophia, waits for you to get the door.
I'll go ahead and grab the door and open it up so we can go in.
She follows you inside.
I head over to the Mater D, and I'm like, we had reservations about 45 minutes ago. I think we'd really like to be seated.
You can't be French because Perot is French. Name?
Hagen.
The maitre d' runs a finger down the book.
Oh, he was almost French again.
The host taps something, flips backwards a couple pages, and says, "Oh, Hagen?
Yes.
I'm sorry. We unfortunately gave up your table." And from behind you, Sophia clears her throat. She's a little bit farther back, so she can't hear what's going on, but she says, "Is there a problem, Sam?"
No, I'll take care of it. I lean in a little bit closer to the maitre d', and I say, could you check again under Morelli?
There's a abrupt change which comes over this dude, and without looking at the book, says, just a moment, we'll have that table for you right away. There is...
I love power moves so much. Oh gosh, that's a real thrill. Nice one, Casey.
Sophia steps forward and puts her arm in yours. She's holding the umbrella down by her side, and it's dripping water all over the floor. And you see this, are we calling him a maitre d'? Is that what we're calling him?
Yeah, that's what they're called, the host.
Yeah. So this guy goes and talks to maybe like the head waiter, who goes and talks to a busboy, who then goes and grabs the manager. The manager comes down onto the floor, kind of eyeballs just a select group of tables. You can tell that they're the best. They are all full. Picks the couple who's like closest to being done, and goes over to them, has a couple quiet words. They're furious. They offer to box up the food, but the people refuse and leave. The busboys quickly turn the table, and the maitre d' comes back over and says, please, allow me to get your umbrella and your coats. He hands those off, and you are taken to the table where you sit down. And they're still kind of setting it, so there's the place settings are being set down. There's glasses of wine that are being set down. Everybody's just kind of, circling around you. Once it's all complete and the bread basket is placed in the center of the table, the maitre d' says, Mr. and Mrs. Morelli, anything you need on the house. And he walks away, and Sophia looks at you and says, what, you forget to make a reservation?
No, I made a reservation. They gave up our table.
That's because we're late. We're always late.
Well, I don't control the weather, all right?
Sam, it wasn't the rain that kept you in that stakeout.
Well, somebody's got to, it's my job. I work for a living, and, I don't control what they do. That's why I get paid to stake it out. I got to wait there, I mean, I left the stakeout. I'm here,
Sam, one of the waiters comes over, pops a cork, pours a little glass. She, smells it, tastes it, shakes her head, sends the bottle away, and says, Sam, look, my uncle will take care of you. Your skills will not go to waste, but this way you won't be constantly looking for the next job. If you work for the family, if you come into the fold, they'll take care of you, Sammy. They're begging me every time I see them.
I know, and I understand, but and I understand that you're accustomed to a certain level of a certain lifestyle, but I'm telling you, my pot of gold, our pot of gold is just around the corner. We are close on this. I mean, you've been sticking with me so far, and we're doing okay, and I know your family could just snap their fingers and make it happen, but this is you and me. This is you and me.
I'm not going anywhere, Sammy. The waiter comes back, pops another cork. She sniffs, tastes, says, thank you, perfect. Yes, thank you. They pour up the wine. And she says, look, Sam, you'd be doing the same job with the same stakes. You think the Morellis are on the company's take?
No.
You don't got anything against them. They're going against the company, same as you, but with their muscle, with their moves, maybe you could get it through your thick head that you could make a difference in this city.
I am making a difference. And it's just, that stubborn part of me that wants to do it myself. That wants to know that, that I could do it, not people who are already made. Like, I got no doubt that, your family's been nothing but great to us, and there's, maybe it's foolish pride. Maybe you're right.
At the tail end of the speech, Sam, you feel a heavy hand on your shoulder. Sophia puts her napkin down. She's all smiles, stands up, and you turn around actually to see Yario, the dentist, standing next to you with his hand on your shoulder, and he says, "Sophie, hey, what are you doing? I didn't know you were coming. We get your table. We pull these tables together. They taking care of you?" The waiter comes back and then immediately turns around and leaves. And she says, yes, of course, Yario, of course. They're taking care of us. They love us. And he says, "Sam, oh, I never thought I'd see you out of the office."
Yeah, I never, like when I leave, I just bring my work with me. I just shake his hand, and recognize how small my hand feels in his like meat paws, just like oh gee whiz, it's not an orthodontist I want to visit.
He turns around to a table. It's just a two-top, but there's an extra chair, and he says, "Excuse me." And he pulls the chair and sits on it backwards up against your table. You can tell he's not going to stay. A waiter brings over some silverware, and he waves it away, and he says, "Sam, Sophie tells me that, well, hey, look, I just want to say, man to man, I think yous and I, we got some things in common, and if you'd like to get moving in a way that makes sense, I'm just saying, I'm not going to start you at the bottom of the rung, I'm going to bring you in, your family. You with Sophie, your family, huh? You want to come in, you want to get in the family, I take care of you, okay? That's from me to you. That's not coming from somebody else. That's coming from me to you. You work alongside. We work together. You got an agenda? It aligns with mine."
Oh, Laura, that's very kind of you. We really appreciate that. And we're actually we're actually discussing it right now. So, I'll definitely let you know if the private eye thing doesn't work out. And yeah, I appreciate that very much.
He says, "Oh shit. Oh, I'm sorry," and looks down at the table, kind of looks at the wine, and says, "It's your anniversary. My apologies." He spins the chair and tucks it back over, says, "Thanks, folks." And he says, "Look, I'm sorry. You kids, you have some fun. But, Sam, I know you're a private eye. We're always looking for secrets, okay? That's all I'll say. Sophie, Sam," he now he motions and a waiter slides over with a glass of wine. He takes it. He says, "To you two, beautiful love. Okay, have some fun." Takes a sip and he departs. And it's just you and Sophia at the table now. She's got this huge roll and she's ripped it open and she's just slathering butter on it. Kind of like
I think I canceled our feed.
What?
I don't see it.
No! I'm loving
This is
this
gold.
story!
No,
Yeah,
I'm
this is-
sorry.
Are we done?
I don't know.
Okay.
Mark,
No.
what's the action?
No?
Is it still going?
What about
Okay.
chat? You hear us, chat?
Okay. I had seen some stuff from chat about it being choppy, and then it's showing that it's canceled on my screen. But okay. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah, Sophia's just mindlessly spreading some butter on this roll. She doesn't even look like she's interested. Just kind of watching you to see how you're gonna react.
I don't want to do it. But You know, I sometimes when I'm done working, if I'm being totally honest with you, I followed you around some.
Oh fuck.
She she sets the knife down, closes the roll, and sets it on her plate. Folds her hands and just waits for you to continue.
And you know, I'm no angel, and I know I've been gone long hours, so I'm not blaming you for anything. So I guess what I'm saying is, if I'm going to be around more, if I come in on this thing, maybe we can keep us together.
She says, think about what you're saying. Before you say something you regret, Sammy.
Till death do us, is what I said. And, you know, that's what I meant. And, what I think about sometimes when we're apart, well, that's kind of killing me. So, you know, your family's been nothing but good to me, and you know, they're your family and we're family, and you know, I guess that makes them my family too.
There's a slow smile that creeps up onto her face, and she says, okay, we don't got to talk about this anymore tonight. Let's have some fun. She waves over the waiter and says, okay, could we just do like a mozzarella to start? Maybe some noodles, a little fajoule. She just like starts around like big spread. And we fade out as you are taking a sip of wine, which you've just seen her okay. And as you start to swallow it, you actually spit it up. And then you are spitting up water as you are starting to drain the water from your lungs. You are rolling around on a grate. It appears that you've landed somewhere underground. Poirot is next to you. He's not breathing, but you have survived your trip into the drain.
Can we make this the Sam and Sophia show now? I want more.
Fuck us.
We're actually going to cut back to Bryn and Tag, who are laying in the rubble of the Summoner's Mansion.
And they're pretending to be Sam and Sophia.
I think we're near the end here. So we're just going to have time for one last little scene. But I would be curious to hear what you have to say, Bryn, as you sit up in the rubble. And Ira does as well. And is looking at you. They're shaking a little, just from the exertion that they just used to create a void bomb.
Did we do that?
Moksha sits up across from Tag and points to Tag.
And Tag looks at both of them and starts to dust himself off. And he says, "Oof, good match, everybody. Good match. Good playing. Awesome. Love those. Got to get me
Gotta get me one of those. Very cool. Ira, you gotta be careful. You know, you gotta get control over that supernova. And he looks at Moksha. Hey, that's kind of a parallels job. You gotta watch this one, right? Yeah, this one's loco. Okay. Good match, everybody. And he tries to like stand up one of the columns that's on the ground, and he stands it up, and then it just crumbles. And he goes, "Oh, yeah." And he's kind of like sweeping stuff with his foot a little bit, sort of futilely trying to help. It's like, yeah.
I'll walk over to Ira and extend a hand to pull them up.
They grab your wrist and get helped up.
I'll have my mom call your dad?
Ira actually starts to laugh and then says, I think I'm going to be in big trouble.
Looking forward to that rematch, though. Am I right? Oof. Yeah, we're neck and neck.
You're very talented at what you do. This was my first proper summoner's duel. Do they always do like this?
This was your first duel?
Yeah. Yeah, they always had me practice on just people that worked within my household, but they didn't have magic, so it wasn't fair.
Ira hangs their head. Moksha stands now, offers to help you tag up. And then says, Ira actually turns to Moksha and says, to the two of you, though they are looking at Moksha, they say, it's not often that someone can evade our anticipation. And Moksha says, I can't understand it, but they're operating outside of time. That's the only way I could think to explain it. They're moving beyond my scope. It's chaotic, but it's beautiful, and I can't see where they're going. And Ira turns to you and says, well, okay. I think we call it a draw.
I offer a hand to shake.
They both shake.
And as I have Ira's hand, I just sort of hang on to it for a second, and I say, listen, Ira, and I'm looking at Moksha as well. Your magic is incredibly powerful. You're very good. This is also your home. You're connected to it. I know that you have a stake in this fight. It seems like, not to get too metaphorical, but you've maybe been cooped up in this palace and have felt under the shadow of the summoner before you, but I know that this is your fight. I know that this is your home. I know that this is where your heart is. You don't know me. You have no reason to believe me, and I sort of look more to Moksha with this. She can tell you it's real what's happening, what's going to happen unless we do something about it. You have the resources to mobilize on this planet and be ready. I don't know for what, but we are going to call on you.
Ira says, I told you that I would help, and I will use every resource at my disposal to do so. But this threat you speak of, to the planet, I am the planet. I am void. You've seen what I can do? That was a speck of dust. Then they turn to Bryn and they say, you hold yourself back to your own detriment. We are not of these worlds, Summoner. We own them. Blackout.
Good, because I didn't know what to say to that.
And you say, hello. You play.
Of the people, of the
Playing
people.
at Ira.
Wow.
I don't have my mind made up about Ira. I like their style, but I don't like their style, you know. I like their style, but I don't like their style.
I feel like it's just very different from what, you know, Tag and Bryn are used to or were raised. Well, at least Bryn was raised with. So I'm trying to keep an open mind.
Tag and Bryn are cool as hell, you know. It's tough. It really kind of skews the scale to be part of such a dope Summoner parallel duo. That makes everybody else seem pretty lame.
Hooray. All right,
I think
Jesse. Oh, go for it.
I just want to put a little button on the scene, which is as Bryn and Tag leave, I think that there's a doorway still standing and maybe just a couple craggy, scattered feet of plastered wall around the doorway. And Tag bends down and just like fits this little mosaic piece into where it went and kind of like spits on it and taps it in there, gives the thumbs up, walks through. Cut to Ira and Mark just staring at it. Cut back to their point of view as we're walking off, and then the mosaic, the whole doorway just.
That's so funny.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Alrighty, Jesse, you got a question from chat?
This one's straight from Merc. Let me double check that I am correct with that. Straight from Merc. This one is, what is your favorite type of flower?
Ha! I have a good answer.
I have one for that too. You go first.
My sister's dog is named Flower.
Okay.
Done.
Okay, that'll count.
She's very cute. She's a pit bull, and they got her from the shelter, and she loves everybody. She snuggles me all the time, and I've never loved a dog before.
Is that the one that's always in the pictures you take?
Yeah.
Yeah, she seems cool.
She's real sweet.
Really perfect. I'm going to say Rye.
Motherfucker, before I pulled the ejector on that joke, I was going to make the same one.
Pulled the ejector on what joke?
I was going to make the same joke, but I decided not to.
That's not a joke. That's my answer.
How did Merc spell it? Did she spell it Flour?
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
I'm going to go with Lotus Flower because of that Radiohead song. And also, I believe that the universe was created from a lotus flower that grew out of Brahma's belly button, but I think I'd need to look into some specifics of that one. Might have just been the world, might have been Shiva that was grown from the lotus flower in Brahma's belly button. Anyways.
Something major.
Mine used to be peony forever, but not anymore. Now I like the hibiscus because I have one that's out on my deck every summer, and I swear to God I talk to it, and it grows so many buds, and I brought it in this winter, and I've kept it alive. It's the first plant I have totally kept alive by talking to it, and it's got all these green leaves, and they're so great because they only bloom for like, I don't know, 10 hours, and then they close up and they're done. So they're very short-lived, and they take work, but now I really like hibiscus.
Yes. I have a firm belief that Thanksgiving of 2016, 17, hibiscus messed me up.
Like
I made a hibiscus syrup to make some cocktails, and I think that we looked it up afterwards. I also could be speaking a little bit out of the butthole, but I think that hibiscus has some sort of lubricating property. What's the word I'm looking for? It kind of it combines with alcohol to produce some effects beyond the scope of what alcohol alone would do.
Like absinthe?
No, hibiscus.
No, but like absinthe, like creates like that.
A freaky sensation.
Or sometimes hallucination.
But the house, I had maybe one cocktail over the course of the night, as did everyone I was with, and we all just like passed out by 7, and we're just really like, what's happening to us? It was weird. It was funky. I blame the hibiscus.
Didn't that also happen to you with like some cherry cobbler or something like that? Didn't you guys go on like a...
That seems like it would have happened to me. I don't have that memory, but that does seem like you are... like I would be the guy that was passed out with his face in a thing of cherry cobbler.
Or, yeah, maybe there's just some story where you and some friends had some like cherry cobbler and then you were like, oh, and then, like 4 hours later, we're still on the roof, like dancing like to the moon, or I don't know.
That might have been someone else on that. I think we talked about cherry dump cake in this stream.
Okay.
But I don't know that it ever really did a number on us in that way.
Okay.
What about you, Casey?
I was going to go with Black Lotus, but since Jesse went with Lotus, I'll go with Oleander.
Ooh.
Because it is the second deadliest flower or second deadliest plant in the world.
Wow.
What's the first?
Tobacco.
Ah!
Oh boy.
Aha!
Aha! Hero will never die.
That's my favorite thing you said so far.
Yeah.
Perot is great. Perot is
Ro
really
is so
just
great.
treat after treat.
Ro is the best. Okay, thanks guys for hanging with us tonight. I know we have some tough technical difficulties. Hopefully the VOD ends up doing a little better. We want to thank Mark Thomason for working so hard behind the scenes to get this thing running smoothly.
Amen.
All the cutaways, all the work. Thank you, Mark, so much. Thank you, Aaron Buman, for our intro and the music that you hear playing in the background. I'll slide, add some ambient, vibes. It's so great. And his beautiful animation artwork that is in our intros. Thank you to Merc Worky, our mod, and for the donations today, and for the sweet fan art that is in our Discord. It's awesome. Check it out. She's incredible. Thank you, Merc, so much for being with us every week. We couldn't do this without you, for sure.
Thank you, Robin Thing, for donations as well, I believe.
Yep.
Exactly.
For your donations as well. Thank you so much. Thank you to Zombie Orpheus for hosting us. We really appreciate giving us a home and lending us your studio. And we've got, I think, Zoe Game Night on Discord tomorrow night. I think they've been playing Jackbox games, and if you haven't played that, it's really fun. It's free. You just need a phone with an internet connection that you can put in the Jackbox website, and it's really great party games. Really hilarious. It's probably some of my favorites. So you can check it out in the Zoe Discord if you want to jump in tomorrow at 6 p.m. And then we have the Reliables, brand newish. I can't keep saying that because I think they've been on for like a month now. Show.
That's still pretty brand new.
It's still pretty brand newish. Brand new. We'll call it.
That's brand new.
That's brand new.
You see a month-old baby, you're like, that baby is new to the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true. Unless I try to pass up a month-old baby as a newborn in a television show, and every time I'm like, that is not a newborn.
I got an announcement before we leave.
Okay. And then you can find us back here next Wednesday. That's all I got. And Jesse has an announcement.
That fucking pocket watch. It's in Rex's pocket. I got a whole sheet of notes. I'm ready to drop that shit hot. I'm just letting you know. Pocket watch ain't going to waste.
Pocket watch.
Okay? I got it. I'm ready. I'm prepared.
I'm underlining it again.
Yes. I can't wait.
Drawing big arrows to my notes.
Thanks,
Yay.
everybody. We love you a lot.
Thank you. Thanks for sticking with us.
See you in the Discord.
Peace.